Welcome everyone to Playwrights Guild of Canada's 2020 Tom Hendry Awards. I'm so pleased to be a part of this year's awards, which is much different than we've ever done it before. But that's because of the situation we currently find ourselves in. But we're a resilient organization and look at it as though now we have more of an opportunity to engage all of our members across the country. So we hope that you're joining us from coast to coast to coast. My name's Robin Sokolowski, and I'm the Executive Director of the Playwrights Guild of Canada. I'm currently in PGC's office, which is in Toronto, which resides on the traditional lands of the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Métis, the Anishinaabeg, including the Mississaugas of Credit Nation. PGC recognizes and respects all recorded and unrecorded nations who care for this land of Toronto, meaning where the trees are standing in water. PGC is grateful for the opportunity to protect and care for the stories of this community, which is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. Thank you everyone for joining us for our very special annual event and throughout the week.
Hi there, my name is Damien Atkins and I am a playwright. That is my enormous fern, which will probably eat me before the end of this video. The question is, why did I start to write? Well, I had the most marvelous lunch once in New York with Joan Didion. And at one point she leaned across the table and she said to me, "Damien, you must write." Not true. How I wish that were true. I never knew Joan Didion. In fact, the truth is, I was an actor and I started writing in what seems to me now to be a laughable and very stupid attempt to try and diversify my income. And in fact, it was a stupid idea and a terrible reason to start writing. But once I started writing, I realized that it gave me the most wonderful feeling of being heard. As an actor, for me, acting is about disappearing. It's about the loss of self. And writing, on some level, is exactly the opposite. It's a way of expressing what I think and what I feel to the world. It's a way of communicating with the world in some kind of way. And I really got hooked on that feeling.
Hey everybody, it's Florence MacDonald here. In answer to all the questions, I was working in Kenya in the late 1970s when I had my Joan of Arc moment. I was writing and journaling out in the East African bush and I was hearing voices. And I thought, oh, dialogue, that's gotta mean I'm a playwright. So I write in order to create other worlds that explore the human condition, be that through politics, love, betrayal, constancy, curiosity. And I would have to say that actors are my greatest inspiration. Actors on stage transport me to those other worlds that we as playwrights all want to create. So happy Tom Hendry celebrations to everybody.
Hi, I'm Diana Cho. My love of storytelling inspired me to be a playwright, to imagine, to create, to hear, to see one story and its characters come to life on stage is a magical journey. We are our stories. That is why I write. I gravitate to stories and voices that are unknown, less known, forgotten, marginalized, inspired by people I meet with shared cultures and stories and histories that are often not represented on our stages. My plays range from the resilience of women in war to the monkey mythologies of the East reimagined from the female perspective. I've been blessed to see plays in different countries around the world and be part of a vibrant, innovative theater community here in Toronto. Theater creators like Théâtre du Soleil, Theater Smith Gilmore, Theater Columbus, whose craft of storytelling grew from our shared theater training at the Lecoq School in different generations, inspired me to develop my personal style of storytelling.
Full disclosure, I started to write plays as an act of creative self-defense and preservation. Having started life as an actor and had 35 plus years as a broadcaster, I wanted to get back into the theater. I asked myself, who's going to hire a 60-year-old Black woman who hasn't been acting for 35 years? The answer is nobody. I'd better write my own stuff. It worked. My very own equity, inclusion, and diversity company. Thank you.
I think what first inspired me to write was the desire to find out about my African Canadian heritage. I was so curious about my family tree, and the more research I did, the more stories I found out about, and I wanted to tell those stories. I wanted to share those stories, and I've been writing ever since. Why I write? Well, that's like asking a fish what water tastes like. I write to stay alive. I write to breathe. I write because I'm constantly craving for that story that hasn't been told. I write because I'm always curious. I write because it inspires me to live another day. The first piece of theater that inspired me to write, well, it was Andrew Moody's play Riot. I remember seeing it at Factory Theater, and I was so excited and amazed to see Black people on stage and to know that there was a Black playwright like myself out there getting his plays produced. And that really inspired me to pursue acting and writing.
I remember the moment when I realized that playwriting was something that I could pursue. I was in university at the time and studying drama. I was in an introduction to drama course, and I had to write a paper on a play. So I went to the library and looked for a play that I could write about. Well, I came across a collection of plays by Asian American playwright David Henry Hwang. And when I pulled that collection off the shelf and saw the name, then turned the book over and saw the picture of the playwright, I thought, oh my goodness, someone that looks like me can make a career in theater. They can write plays that are produced and published. It was that moment that I decided that this was something that I could do, and I set on a journey to become a playwright myself. Flash forward about 15 years, I had about, I'd say, 10 plays under my belt. One of those plays was getting an off-Broadway run. It was called Mom, Dad, I'm Living with a White Girl. The producers flew me out to New York so I could be at rehearsals, and the artistic director also happened to be on the committee for the Tony Awards, and they were holding a fundraising event. And she looked at the strange Canadian kid in New York and decided to make me her +1. Well, at the event, I mingled with a lot of the guests, but the one guest that stood out in my mind was Asian American playwright David Henry Hwang. As soon as I saw him, I rushed up to him. I think I charged at him and turned into one of those comic book fanboys as I gushed over his work and told him how he inspired me to pursue theater and become a playwright. It's the whole reason why my mother hated me. He smiled and nodded and said, "Thank you very much." I have to say that it was because of him that I pursued playwriting, and I realized that theater could be a career for somebody like me.
The Carol Bolt Award is in loving memory of both Carol and David Bolt. This award is given annually to a Playwrights Guild of Canada member who has premiered an original play in the previous year, in this case between May 1st, 2019 and May 16th, 2020. Funding for the award is generously sponsored by Alberta Playwrights Network, Playwrights Canada Press, Manitoba Association of Playwrights, Playwrights Atlantic Resource Centre, the Playwright Theatre Centre, and Playwrights Guild of Canada. Playwrights Guild of Canada would like to thank Ida Holmes, Jennifer Dawn Bishop, and Jen Dion for being part of the Carol Bolt jury. One of the first plays I performed was Carol Bolt's Gabe, which showed me how fierce and important and challenging theatre could be. Years later, when I was just becoming as a playwright, I met Carol, who was fierce and funny and deeply committed to serving theatre and playwrights. She was a great role model for a theatre rat who found playwriting and thought she could use it to tell stories to change the world. This year's nominees have created lyrically beautiful poetic pieces that moved moment to moment. The universality of the characters and the journeys made for beautiful storytelling. The shortlisted nominees are Keith Barker for This Is How We Got Here, Emma Donoghue, songs by Cora Bissett and Catherine Joseph for Room, Sébastien Harrison, translation Liana Brody for From Alaska, and the 2020 Carol Bolt Award goes to Keith Barker for This Is How We Got Here. Congratulations.
Keith Barker Nintishkas. Come to you from the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Wendat peoples here in Treaty 13 territory, Tukaronto, which is a Mohawk word for the gathering place. I am in the Rosedale Parkway here in Toronto, which is, you can hear the traffic. It's fitting that I'm surrounded by nature, but you can still hear the cars. But that's Toronto. I just wanted to thank you for this incredible award. I feel humbled by the acknowledgement, and I'm just so happy. So thank you. Carol Bolt passed away in 2000, which was actually the first year of my career as an artist. I just graduated from George Brown. I know that she wrote on the cartoon, one of my favorite cartoons growing up, The Raccoons, but she also did an episode of Fraggle Rock, which I thought was really cool. If you haven't read her plays, you should. I have so many people to thank, and yeah, if you ever read my play, look at the back of the book. I've got like 2 pages of thank yous, and still not enough because there are just so many people. Thank you to my mom and my sisters. Thank you to my wife Catherine and the Butler family. Thank you to Donna Michelle St. Bernard, who was the very first person to tell me I was a playwright, and to Yvette Nolan, who guided me through those first couple of years. Thank you to Eli Ham for always supporting me, make sure this play got to see the stage. But, you know, someone I missed in my original, a lot of my thank yous is my high school teacher, Mrs. Zajo. I grew up in a small town where the arts just didn't exist, and she was the first person to introduce me to it. And I would be a truck driver today, which isn't a bad thing. I'd be a truck driver today in Northern Ontario if it wasn't for her, if she hadn't introduced me to the arts. So big thank you to Mrs. Zajo, and to my family, my friends, to all of you out there. Keep writing, stay safe, be well, and I look forward to seeing you back in the theater when we're able to do so. Chimigwich, 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 the creator, to all of you, and see you soon.